Hello, my dear parents out there. Namalia Negeri is my name, and I welcome you once again on our program, Parenting as a Sacred Purpose. Today, we are going to share on the power of knowing the history of where we come from. All these things, we try to put them together because they help our children. We've been in schools, we have studied about history. Most of us know histories of politicians, histories of our leaders, but ask yourself today, how much do you know about yourself? The history of your home, the history of your clan, the history of your partner. Why do I come up with this? My argument is always about children. Our children today are facing a lot of challenges. And some of the causes simply are because we do not know our history. Did you know that our children, 90% of what they go through is a continuation of where our ancestors, or even us, where we stopped from, and they continued from there. So most things that we see manifesting in our children, it's not just coming from the blue. Most of them have roots, and these roots come straight from our history. Now, people might ask, how is that? How am I going to know the history? And how is the history going to help my children? I always tell people that, when you're in marriage, everything might look perfect. You may seem like those who broke up, those who are struggling when you're newly married. You could assume they were not serious. You could assume I would be better than them. I have all the money, I have the education, I have mentioned it all, and you would imagine it would never happen to you. But guess what? It is a matter of time. It's a matter of time, and so the earlier, the better. Start asking yourself, yes, God, you've blessed me with children, but how do I make it that my children will not fall like for the other one? My child will go through. My child will make it. All that is a parent who is preparing himself or herself to raise up a child well. And I usually like comparing things to nature. When you want your seed to grow, it's always advisable for you to weed your garden, to clear it, to do all the necessary things that you need to do, that seed will grow up well. So equally in raising children, knowing the history, it will help you so much. So, how can we know the history of our homes? But first of all, why is it necessary for us to know history for our homes or for our partners? It is a way that helps us to kind of foresee what is likely to come ahead of us on side of our children. I usually tell people, when you go for functions in your homes, look at some activities. Look at characters that appear continuously. For example, you see drinking is really too much in your home. People drink and lose focus. People drink and drop their studies. People drink and break up. People drink until they lose jobs. And you still think, I don't know the history of my home? That is something to start watching and asking why. This is not normal. When You talk to your aunties, to your uncles. See patterns, see how things move. Do you see something appearing over and over again in your family? Start understanding this is something that is happening in our clan that I've seen in one generation, in the other generation. When you compare generation habits and see it's in the other generation, it's in this generation, it's in this young generation, start knowing that is history. When you go on big days, when people are conversing, when people are talking, try to pick up something. I tell parents, it's important that wherever you go, I have a simple prayer as sometimes I pray. God, help me to see what you want me to see and to understand what you want me to understand. Your partner may not speak up everything that they are struggling with because it creates fear in others. Or even others feel ashamed to speak about some of their past or what they see that's not normal in their home. But there is information in everything surrounding you. What is important is for you as a parent to keep on connecting patterns. How this thing is following the other, how it manifests in the other, as it comes from one generation to another, and slowly you start getting to know the history. You see that? Sometimes you can even ask those who may be open. And they may not be open actually to say everything, but the few you can share with. Walk to your parents, ask some things to know some information. Ask your grannies about certain information. And don't listen to the information being judgmental there and there. But ask it so that you go back and ask, why is this way? And if you get all that information, that is collecting the history of your home, of your clan, but also of your partner. Some of us, you don't want even to go to the village. You feel going in the village is being backward. Sometimes going to the village is going back to the roots and really knowing how things are. Because they might hide very many things from you as a new person entering into a home or a clan. But in those gatherings in the villages, one way or the other, one thing will go off and things will be, they'll bring out some light. This helps you as a parent very much. Me, when I look back where I came from, I see what I've seen from my grandies. I see what I see from my aunties. I see from my parents. And I see from my generation. It kind of opens my eyes when I see something in my children. When I see any sign or signal, something connecting to the history that I have come connecting, there and there, I will not wait for the bomb. I start offering it in prayers, rebuking it, binding it at the foot of the cross. Why? Because it starts slowly. It is like a spirit. It moves. So as the other one is aging, it looks for the young ones. So instead of us knowing history of many politicians, of leaders, all that one's characters are like for the father, that's how also the father was. Why don't you go back as a parent? Start connecting characters of your grandies, of your aunties, of your parents to yourself and bring it back in connection to your child and know how to help your child, how to save your child. I'm telling you, if you start doing things in that way as a parent, that's why you see in all the days when things would go bad with the young parents, they would go back and ask the grandmothers, but why is my child like this? And it was always them to tell you where they could sense something not right. But we are in a generation where you do not want to rely on only going back and asking only advice from them, but start analyzing things as a parent today so that you can save your children and prepare for the battle early before the battle prepares itself for you. Otherwise, I encourage parents out there, get to know from the grassroots your history, your partner's history. And I can tell you, it will guide you on how to pray, it will guide you on how to raise your children, and it will guide you on how to connect with other people when it comes to your children. Otherwise, history is very powerful in helping parents to raise children. God bless you and have a great moment with your children. Bye bye.